Registers is also one of the primary memory which is used to store the intermediate data which is required for processing. So anyway, this UPS works based on the battery. So it will going to switches the battery power when it detects the problem. So the configuration of a computer system in order to work or in order to get done the work properly, then we require assembly. Hello everyone. Myself Rohini TS, Computer Science Faculty, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysore. I welcome all of you to the last session of your first chapter, that is typical configuration of a computer system. So in this session, I will be discussing regarding a cache memory. So as you guys know that cache memory is a type of primary memory or internal memory. So, I will be discussing regarding this cache memory in this session. Then, power supply to the computer system. So, how food is important to human beings in order to survive. In the same way, this power supply is also important for the computer in order to work properly. Okay, then how we are going to supply the power into the computer system, or how we are going to supply the electricity to the computer system? There are two ways, SMPS and UPS. So I will be discussing regarding these things and assembling the computer system. So what is this assembling and what are all the components which is helpful in order to work the computer properly? So let's see in this session. Coming to the cache memory. So cache memory, as I told earlier, it is one of the primary memory or internal memory. Cache memory is very high speed memory. It resides in between RAM and CPU. So where it will going to resides or locate? It resides in between CPU and RAM. So mainly it is used for the high speed memory. But it is very small in size and very expensive, so that it will going to improve the performance of a computer system. And this cache memory mainly located in between the RAM and CPU. So what are all the things or what are all the data it will going to hold? So the data which is currently used by the computer system or CPU. So this cache memory will going to hold the data which is more often required or more often used. So when you are going to press the home button, at that time in the background you are going to resides or you are going to hold the data which was used by you. In the same way, this cache memory will going to hold the data which is required or which is most often used. And then it will going to store the data temporarily and it makes this data and instruction available to the CPU for faster processing. So it improves the efficiency of a CPU performance, that increase the speed of a processing. That is regarding cache memory. Here the size is very small. The size or holding capacity of this cache memory is very small and it is very expensive. So expensive in the sense the cost is more and smaller in size. Then what is the size of this cache memory? It varies from 256 KB to 2 megabytes. That is 2 MB. And this cache memory is categorized as levels. So we are not going to divide this as a types. So this is categorized as what? Levels. Then what are the levels of this cache memory? There we have 3 levels. That is level 1, level 2 and level 3 cache memory. So now we'll see what do you mean by this level 1 cache memory. So this is very extremely fast. So L1 cache memory or L1 type of memory is very fast but smaller in size. And where it will going to present or locate, which is reside inside the CPU. So while learning the levels of cache memory, you have to concentrate on 2 points. What is the size of that kind of cache memory and where it will be located. So those 2 points is very, very important. Whether it is present or located or resides inside the CPU or outside the CPU or between any of the component, that you have to keep it in mind. So coming to this L memory or L cache memory, it is very extremely fast and it will going to store the data and it will going to retain the data and instruction which is required frequently by the CPU. But it is smaller in size and the size varies from 32 KB to 512 KB. and it is mainly resides inside the CPU. It is very, very important for 3 marks question. What do you mean by cache memory and what are the levels of cache memory is important for 3 marks question. Anyway, you will be getting 3 marks question from this chapter. At that time, this 3 marks question, cache memory is very, very important. So coming to this L2 or level 2 cache memory. Where it will be located? It will be located outside the CPU. L1 is located inside the CPU, but this L2 memory or L2 cache memory, level 2 cache memory located outside the CPU. And what is the size of this L2 memory or L2 cache? It varies from 1 MB to 2 MB. So it locates outside the CPU on a separate chip, which is high-speed system bus, which is interconnected to the cache of a CPU. It locates outside the CPU and the size varies from 1 MB to 2 MB. That is regarding this L1 and L2. L1 resides inside the CPU and then L2 resides outside the CPU. Then what is the size of that L1? That varies from 32 KB to 512 KB. So coming to this L2, that varies from 1 MB to 2 MB. That is regarding L2. At last we have another level, that is level 3 cache. So this level 3 cache will going to work or it will going to improve the performance of L1 and L2. That means it has a control over L1 and L2. It helps to improve the efficiency or a performance of this level 1 and level 2 cache memory. So, but this level 3 cache memory is slower than the L1 and L2. But it is usually double the speed of RAM. That means the efficiency of a RAM will be increased. Anyway, that RAM is also comes under what? Primary memory itself. So that this level 3 memory or level 3 cache memory will going to improve the performance of level 1 and level 2, and it is also speed or much faster than this DDR RAM, that is double data RAM. It is regarding cache memory. In this you have to keep it in mind. What is cache memory and then where it will be located and what is the size, how the levels of this cache memory will be categorized. There you have to explain level 1, level 2 and level 3, and you have to mention whether it is present inside the CPU or outside the CPU along with its size. Okay, here you can see the image of cache memory, how it will going to work. Okay, here we have a CPU which is required for processing. That CPU consists of what? ALU, CU along with registers. So registers is also one of the primary memory which is used to store the intermediate data which is required for processing. And here you can see the cache memory. So here we have all the levels L1, L2 and L3. So based on that level, it will be available whether inside or outside the CPU. And this has a conversations or data transformation between the primary memory along with the secondary memory. So anyway, if there any data and instructions in the secondary memory, that needs to be transferred to the primary memory for the processing. So whatever the data comes in primary memory, then this cache memory will going to have a data transfer between those CPU along with the primary and secondary memory. It's regarding cache memory. So let me get into the next topic, that is power supply to the computer system. As I told, how food is very, very essential thing for the human beings in order to survive. So in the same way, this computer require power supply or electricity supply in order to work properly. Okay, so what are the ways in order to supply the power to the computer system? So mainly we'll see what is the way of supplying power to the computer system. So continuous power supply is essential for the computer, which helps to reduces or prevents from failures. If there is no power supply, I cannot perform any of the operations. When it is shut down or when the computer is turned off, at that time we cannot perform any operation. So that power supply is very, very important thing to the computer system. So in order to prevent it from failures or any problems or any breakdowns or shutdown of the computer system. What are all the ways in order to supply the power to the computer system? There are two ways, that is SMPS and UPS. SMPS stands for switch mode power supply, and this UPS stands for uninterruptible power supply. So coming to the SMPS, you guys might have seen this component in the CPU. When you turn on the system, at that time some fan sound. So that comes from this SMPS only. Okay, so that is regarding SMPS. Then what is this SMPS stands for? So this SMPS is nothing but switch mode power supply. So this SMPS will going to convert AC power from an electrical outlet to the DC power which is needed by system component. So what is the working of this SMPS? That will convert an alternative current to the direct current. So that power supply will going to be utilized by the components of a computer system in order to prevent from any of the failures or a breakdowns or a shutdowns. Okay, so SMPS will going to have a fan because it will going to generate a lot of heat, or lot of heat will be generated. In order to cool that, this SMPS will going to have a power cord plug and then a fan. Here you can see the image of this SMPS, so that you are going to get a sound, or when you turn on the computer system, at the time you may hear some fan sound when you turn on the system. So that is nothing but what? SMPS, because when it converts the alternative current to the direct current, at that time it will going to generate several heat. So in order to cool those things, we have a fan. That is regarding SMPS. Then what is the next way of supplying power to the computer system? That is UPS. So already you guys are aware of this UPS, right? That is nothing but what? Uninterruptible power supply. UPS stands for what? Uninterruptible power supply. All these abbreviations are important for 1 marks question. So remember that these abbreviations or expansions are important for 1 marks question. What is this UPS stands? UPS stands for what? Uninterruptible power supply. Then why we require this UPS? And UPS is a power supply to the computer system, and that includes battery. Why it includes battery? In order to maintain the power supply to the computer system at a time of power failures, or when the power or electricity goes off, at that time this UPS will going to help out to the computer in order to run in a smooth manner. So that we require this UPS, and this UPS will going to keep the computer running for several minutes to the few hours. That is based on its capacity, or ability of the CPU will be ranged from several minutes to the hours. So when the power failures occurs, or at the time or event of the power failures, this UPS will going to give several electricity power to the computer system in order to prevent it from failures or shutdown. So UPS will be further classified into 2 types. There are 2 types of UPS. One is offline UPS and another one is online UPS. There are 2 types of UPS, online UPS and then offline UPS. So now we'll see what do you mean by this offline UPS. So offline UPS is also known as what? Standby UPS. So this offline UPS will going to keep monitoring the power line, and it will going to switches to the battery. So anyway this UPS works based on the battery. So it will going to switches the battery power when it detects the problem, or at the time of power failures occurs, at that time this offline UPS will come into existence. Okay. For example, just imagine the power supplies keep going on to the computer system and it working its procedures, or it is processing something like that. So when the time of power failures occurs, or at the event of any breakdowns or any shutdown things occurs, at that time this offline UPS will going to generate or turn on the battery. That battery will going to supply power or electricity to the computer system. That prevents it from the breakage or any shutdown of the computer system. This offline UPS is also known as what? Standby UPS. So it will going to provide the electricity when the power failures occurs. But what? I want to keep the power supply in a continuous manner. At that time, I need to go with this online UPS. Offline UPS works only when the electricity failures occurs, but this offline UPS will going to keep the power supply on even the power line is working properly. It is completely prevent it from any breakages, or it won't allow any of the shutdown, or it won't allow for any of the power problem, so that computer can process its data and instruction in a smooth manner or in a continuous manner. Okay, so these kind of UPS will mainly used in the real-time system when there should not be any of the breakages in between. At that time we are going to use this kind of UPS, and it is more costlier than the offline UPS. Anyway, this online UPS will going to give the power, or it will going to supply the power even the power supply is on, so that it costs more than the offline UPS. So coming to the power supply, there we have two types, SMPS and UPS. So in UPS there are two types, offline UPS and online UPS. So these are the two ways. By using these any of the method, we can supply the power to the computer system. Yes, we are at the end of our first chapter. So the last topic is nothing but what? Assembling the components of a computer system. Anyway, you will be getting the components of a computer system in a separate manner. But what if I want to work in a proper manner, in the sense, at that time I need to assemble, or I need to configure the computer system's component to one another. So the configuration of a computer system, in order to work or in order to get done the work properly, then we require assembling. So assembling is nothing but what? Computer configuration. It is a processing of setting up all the hardwares or components which is required in order to work the computer properly. Proper configuration helps to improve the efficiency of a computer system, and it also improves the working or performance of a computer system. So if any improper assembling or improper configurations occurs, then that will lead to the memory storage lack, or that will lead to the breakages, or that may lead to any other hardware or software problems. So the proper configuration is very important for a computer to run in a perfect or proper manner. So it's all about your first chapter, that is typical configuration of a computer system. I will meet you in the next chapter sessions. Until that, keep growing, keep on learning. Thank you.